The phrase "that's what I'm talking about" applies very strongly to today. So, yes, this is a little bit late. I'm sorry, I was busy playing Diablo 4. Like, genuinely, that is the reason. But the thing is, I have no reason to miss this kind of thing. I'm checking this website all the time, this page all the time, and the Discord too. I guess 2 hours literally just slipped me by, or slipped by me, and I just didn't notice this, which I should have done because this is by far the most exciting thing that's happened. Probably, I don't know, maybe this year. Oh no, no, sorry, because we got the roadmap this year, the actual feature list. Certainly so far this month, last few weeks, probably since we got the feature list, this is the most exciting thing that we've actually seen. Because this is what we've been talking about when it comes to how Ghost Ship said that Season 5 will be developed very openly, especially in comparison to previous seasons. And not only is it awesome to see a Q&A post, now what a Q&A post is kind of weird, it's more like them breaking down the actual concept that they're talking about and then answering presumed FAQ questions, frequently asked questions. So it's more them assuming what might be asked, but they're not wrong, I don't think. Or it could be internal, like, focus group questions. I don't actually know, but either way, it's like a Q&A dev blog is essentially the thing that I would call it personally, which is exactly what we wanted to see. They talked about in the very original roadmap update all the way back when Rogue Core was announced how there would be things like dev blogs and Q&As, more elaborate posts about the development of Season 5, and that would also go for Rogue Core and all future seasons as well. And we finally have an example of it, and I think it's probably the best example they could have chosen, which is the reactivating old seasons mechanic, which is something that, you know, both me and Tyler were questioning a great deal of the impetus behind for a lot of reasons. In that it didn't seem like they had really decided upon it, which kind of we found a little bit annoying, that they were trying to put in this fairly substantial feature, but they didn't really have an idea of how they were going to do it. And also just the fact that we didn't really agree that it was the time for it to happen anyway. I didn't really think Season 5 is the place for this, but I think after reading this post, I am definitely okay with it, especially because just merely by the fact that they have it figured out now is actually a really good sign. That means it's not going to be something that's going to be taking too much effort in terms of actually planning the implementation of it. And also, once we actually get into it, you'll see that it's a very palatable implementation. It's very simplistic. They really haven't overcomplicated it, which I think is exactly the way to go. But without further ado, I think we need to get into the post itself. So let's do that. So as usual, I'll pretty much just read it verbatim. I'll stop like pretty much at every point just to maybe say something if I have something to say. I like this as well. You know, bringing in all the fellows that we know, the Nemesis, seeing him again in an actual piece of, I don't know, branding. I don't know if people call this that. I don't know. Hello miners, as you may have seen in our post about the first details for Season 5, we did see one of the new features we're working on is giving everyone the ability to reactivate previous seasons and play through them at your leisure. Implementing a system like this involves a few structural changes, and we're here to share some details about that. If you're thinking, eek, big changes, don't worry, you'll still be able to play with everyone as usual, and all the seasonal cosmetic items are still earnable for free. Just like always, nothing's going away. Deep breaths. We put together this Q&A to give you more details on how this season reactivation feature will work, and so you know what to expect once we get it up and running. Let's get into it. Yeah, I think I should just get into the next segment before I say anything, you know, of my own accord. So let's do that. How's the season reactivation thing going to work? Here it is in a nutshell. In the season terminal, there will be a new tab called Season Selection. You'll use this to pick any available DRG season and activate it. When you select a season, they'll now kick any party members and reload the space rig, just like when you disband a lobby, which makes sense. You know, I sort of questioned this, just like, why couldn't it, you know, stay the same? But it's like disbanding your lobby already, you know, resetting your lobby already kicks everyone. This is a far more complicated feature than that, so that's not much of a problem. But then you can invite your friends back in or make your lobby public, and party members do not need to have the same season active in order to join you. As part of this, we're replacing the disable season content option with a season simply called Vanilla. This option has no associated performance pass and a balanced chance to spawn events and warnings from all seasons, which is really cool. So here's like a placeholder. I believe this isn't from in-game itself. So I think it's just sort of like a mock-up graphic, basically, what it could look like. It might be from in-game, I'm not actually 100% sure. I mean, it doesn't, you know, it being currently in Season 4 doesn't really rule anything off, because that is the one we currently have active. So here we have Season 5, here it's nothing, just placeholder image. But we have all the others, including Vanilla. sitting right there. And I think the vanilla idea is very cool. Now, I'm not sure if the questions really get into this. I read over this post briefly. I'm still a little bit confused as to how it actually handles events and whatnot. Especially if you can join people regardless of what season you are playing through. I believe it does tweak event chances, but the host will dictate that for the most part. But you can still choose the performance pass you're progressing. I believe, based on what I've read ahead a bit and just that description as well, I think it's more like a choosing your performance pass than anything else. But it does still incorporate like event chances and mainly just that. It can't really change anything else. You'll see in a moment. So let's get into the actual questions that they've proposed to themselves, I suppose. Can I still play with other people if they've got a different season selected? Yes, everyone can still play with each other no matter which season they've got selected because the mission terminal reflects the host's selected season. Well, there you go. Though it's possible that a few individual missions might not show up for other players if they've got a different season active than the host. But not to worry, you can still join any lobby on any season through the server browser. So there might be some things missing depending on conflict of your game state from the host or vice versa, but it will still be seamless. It won't cause issues per se. I think that's probably the best way to put it. Will I be able to see which season people have selected when I browse through the server list? Yes. Good. If I join a game where the host has a different season active, what happens? You'll progress on the season that you've got active. There we go. And the host will progress on the season that they've got active. Everybody wins. So yeah, that's the element of it being more so just a season pass selection or a performance pass selection mechanic. Will seasons still have enemies and events from other seasons? Yes. This is just like the game is now. Even though we're on Season 4 at the moment, you can still come across enemies and events from past seasons on some missions. With this new system, these probabilities will be adjusted to reflect the focus of each season, so Season 2, for example, will have a comparatively higher chance of rival tech encounters and rival presence warnings. But there's still a chance that a corruptor could pop up. I think that's the way to do it. It is slightly odd. It's not truly like going back in time, but this is an element of them just uncomplicating the system, and I think that's needed. I think if they did complicate this in any way, it would come. First of all, it would be needlessly complicated, and it would be needlessly difficult to make. I think they've gone for a version that I think is succinct in that it covers enough ground to deliver on the feature's promise, like what the concept of the feature is, but also not go too far in terms of detracting from what Season 5 should really be about from a developmental perspective. Will season-specific assignments be available again for those who didn't play them? No. Season-specific assignments, like Season 3's Part 1 Critical Situation, for example, won't be coming back. However, a new assignment for Season 5 will be available for everybody. Now, I find that one a bit strange, personally. I don't think that should be the way it works, especially for people who didn't get the chance to play those assignments. I mean, I'd love it personally because I want to get the voice lines and possibly like record them. That's just a selfish reason. But I think the assignments should have been included in some capacity, personally. But that might change, that might not. As far as I know, this is like pretty locked in, this this plan of implementation for the feature. So its chances are nothing's going to change. But I'm just saying, I think the assignments probably should have been factored in. What's happening to all the cosmetics from previous seasons that have been moved into the game? We're moving all those items back to their original spots in their respective seasons, performance passes, and cosmetic trees. Very much so the selecting performance pass thing being sort of the main point of it. Very how Halo Infinite works actually as well. The difference is in Deep Rock that you have these other loopholes, other ways of unlocking stuff that they originally chose to move them to. And I thought that was a good system. But I suppose it makes sense now that, you know, all of that stuff kind of represents the vanilla loophole, right? Instead of it just getting bloated more and more. I still think it could work, right? You can sort of filter out, you can sort of get rid of that stuff, even if it's in those loopholes by playing previous seasons. I don't think you actually needed to move it back, personally. But that's a decision. So, for example, a weapon framework like Waster from Season 1 is going to be put back into Season 1's cosmetic tree, which is where it originally appeared. You'll then be able to unlock all those frameworks by progressing through that cosmetic tree. The same applies for headgear and paint jobs. Now, I do wonder how that cosmetic tree is going to look, Season 1 specifically, because the Gen 3 secondaries weren't present in that, but they still added the Waster frameworks for them once they came out in Season 2. I assume it will have a slightly altered cosmetic tree from how it originally was to accommodate this, but that's just something I thought I should point out. If I played a previous season before, will the game remember my progress? Yes, each season's performance pass and cosmetic tree will be set to wherever you left off. If you were at level 87 when the season originally ended, it will still be at level 87 when you reactivate it. If you never played a certain season, progress on its performance pass and cosmetic tree will be at 0. I doubt that there's anyone who hasn't played any given season, given how long they tend to last, especially season 4. What if I'm playing through an old season and encounter a cosmetic reward I've already unlocked? If you reach a node in a performance pass or cosmetic tree that contains an item you already own, we'll reward you with some credits instead. Credits can be exchanged for goods and services. Okay, so that's a good solution to that. Makes perfect sense. This is, of course, referring to the fact that all of the previous season items are in the other loot pools of the game, like Matrix Cores, Lost Crates, and Lost Equipment. And of course, you could have easily have claimed a bunch of stuff from previous seasons, like, I don't know, the headgear at level 85 in the season 2 performance pass. Let's just say that's probably not actually where. That's probably nothing there. I don't know. And if you get there again, you'll just get some more credits instead, which is perfectly fine. I think that's how it should work. There shouldn't be anything really done there. You know, you shouldn't have stuff taken away from you that you've already got. So that's being handled perfectly fine, I think. What happens to the seasonal cosmetic matrix cores I've got? If you've got matrix cores infused with any seasonal cosmetics, those will be removed from your inventory and placed back into their respective performance paths and cosmetic trees when Season 5 launches. In return, we'll give you a different matrix core, this one infused with a non-seasonal cosmetic item. If you've already unlocked and forged all non-seasonal cosmetics, you'll get some crafting resources instead. So it's a little bit weird. I don't inherently think they should take that away from your inventory. I think it's a bit odd, but at least it will be replaced. So I think that's fine, basically. I think that's just fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I think it's especially important that you do actually get something so you can still progress your Forge Mastery, as Forge Mastery is important for game progression, especially if you don't have all the overclocks unlocked at the moment. And of course, that's going to change for everyone once Season 5 launches. So that's, yeah, I think that's fine. What about the seasonal stuff in the shop and cargo crates? Well, we've already been through this, I think. Any cosmetics that were originally part of the season will also no longer be available via the shop, cargo crates, or lost packs once the season reactivation system launches. Again, not disappearing, you just have to go through a season performance pass or cosmetic tree to unlock them. This means you can unlock these seasonal cosmetics directly, rather than relying on getting lucky with cargo crate / lost pack RNG. Yeah, I actually think it makes sense, actually. This also cuts down on loot pool bloat, meaning you have higher odds of rolling everything else that does stay in the crates and packs. Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, this does call for, and I think the maintenance updates had a chance to do this, and maybe a future one does as well, of actually adding some new stuff directly for the loot crates, the lost packs, and cargo crates. So I don't know if there's any consideration towards that, but I think in general, I agree with their decision actually on that. So, do I need to do anything before Season 5 launches? No, not really. Like we said above, nothing's going away here. You'll still be able to play with anyone you like, and every single item is still going to be unlockable for free. The only situation where you might want to do something is if there's some seasonal cosmetics in the shop you've been eyeing, or if you've got one in an unforged matrix core, which is fine because they are flagged, especially in the shop. I know that they're flagged with their season. I don't know if matrix cores are. I've never seen that in person. I just know that at least in the shop, the items are flagged with the season that they came from. You might want to scoop those up before Season 5, otherwise you'll just have to unlock them in a different way. Yeah, it's no problem. I actually think it's a very succinct plan they've laid out here for how this is going to be implemented. Hopefully this helps clarify some things about how this system works. It definitely does. And what it will mean for your beloved friends and cosmetics. If you've got any other burning questions about this system, feel free to drop them in the comments. If we see certain questions popping up a lot, we'll try our best to address them and update this post with a reply. Oh, okay. Again, all this takes effect when Season 5 launches in June. Speaking of that, we'll have some more to share about Season 5 later this month. Well, I call this something to share about Season 5. This is one of the major features it will be launching with. Oh, also, in case you haven't heard, the indie game world is putting something cool together. The Triple I Initiative Digital Showcase. We can't give away too many details, but Ghost Ship Publishing is very proud to be a part of it, and we hope you'll tune in to watch it debut live. Her thing kicks off on April 10th at 7 PM Central Eastern Time, which is 5 PM Greenwich Mean Time. April 10th is also Wednesday, so we'll probably take a look at that on the podcast. We'll also be talking about this on the podcast. But yeah, it's all very cool. I think how they've laid it out is perfectly fine. Doesn't mean we're still 100% on board with it being a thing that is a part of season 5 in general. I think you can use the gap between season 4 and 5 as an argument on either side. I think this makes sense. I think season 5 will bring a lot of new people in, and not everyone has finished every given previous season. So I have no real problem with this. I think as long as season 5 comes out in June, which I have every confidence that it will, I still think that aside from this, it's a perfectly comprehensive and well thought out content drop that's going to really fulfill what the game needs at the moment. So I can't in good faith say I actually have a problem with this, and I do in general think it's probably going to be a good thing as well. But I think that's going to be it. I can't wait to see more posts like this. I hope there will be more, but this was still really cool in its own right. I'm really interested to hear what everyone else thinks. So any comments on this video that are of note, we will be sure to cover in the podcast this week as well. So please leave your thoughts below. And until then, this has been Barrel Vision News. Thank you. And of course, if you want to stay on top of everything to do with Deep Rock and Road Core, please like, subscribe, and click the bell. And, well, that'll be that. See you next time.